Hello. So, we are back in Space Engineers. We're in my think tank, because right now, oddly enough, we are working on a capital ship. And this is kind of what I've got going on so far. That is on a rotor to be angled. I've got this little two-prong system going on. This is, of course, just top deck, and then once you get below deck, kind of get this. Over here is going to be a welding repair station once you come into this little garage bay here. Uh, my cousin Shelby, or Sunshine, will be joining me here shortly. Probably just in the chat too. Just join and tag along, give some comments, other commentary, other good jazz. And yeah, we're just gonna do our best to finish up the ship because I've got this little area here. Come in through here. I want this to be like a decompression chamber docking space area. And then I want these tubes through the center to be this one to be the assembler, this one to be the refinery. I'm going to have this front left one going to be H2O2, and then probably this side I'm actually going to probably dedicate to power. Now, even then I'm debating that. I don't want to put a reactor on a modular system, because I'm pretty sure I would lose a section. I could lose an entire little quadrant. I see that being fairly easy, because we've got this little top deck up over here. I've kind of already outlined it. This will be part of the observation deck. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right there. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I'm also cleaning this up because this stuff doesn't need to be here. Or at least this specific stuff. I could just expand. Yeah. But yeah, so and this little command center here, little observation deck will come out to here, and then in here, that's actually the rotor that'll lead up to this. And I'll have some stairs that'll come up to this. I'll have runway lights that'll be, blinking down that way. And even this is not going to be the primary control center. It's probably going to be like another block taller. Probably even with that. The primary control center will actually probably be right here. That'll overlook the garage entrance. And then you come back out here, you can get some repairs done, and this will of course have our main thruster modules. I'm going to clear out some sections in here as well, because I will have the ports to get the thrusters. This is a perfect area to make sure everything's connected in the center, but also to make sure that I've got room to do like flat atmospheric thrusters, just in case we get caught into a gravity well, or specifically on Earth's gravity well, or if we get caught somewhere with an atmosphere, we can actually fight against it. And the other main important part is this area, which is it's protected area. You got your glassed area up here, and then this section down here. This one is meant for my little pelicans, or my crows, as I like to call them, which are just these, which are meant to look like pelicans from Halo, and I know. Up here, I'm probably going to change out some of these ports for the smaller port connectors, because I also want my personal fighter to be, this version of these fighters to be available. Because right now I've only got the large ports down there. And yeah, no, every ship that's gonna land on these little pads is meant to park angularly. But I'm hoping that whenever everybody kind of comes in here to park, they either angle their tail to the left, so they're all pointing to the right, or I guess to the ship's left. But it also depends on everybody's angle on when they come in, because these two can be angled however they want. That one just kind of comes in here from the rear. And then all of these have a straight runway, kind of like how the garage does down here. And I'm trying to make sure that, of course, everything's connected. Everything's kind of here. This, yeah, as we can see, here's one of them. That's docked. And then here's one of my other drones. It's meant to look like a UNSC frigate. Yes, I know. It's just the missiles up there. All the weapons are green. Thrusters orange. Armors blue. And the rest of the components are either blue or gray. But at least this way, we've got 6 of those drones. And they're all suited up with at least 2 railguns. And those autocannons and some rockets. These are just mainly Gatling guns. They're only going to be fueled up with a crud ton of Gatling ammo. Autocannon, railgun ammo, and that's kind of it. And this ship will have at least a couple Connors acting as escort. As we can kind of see, he's only probably the size of the front, and I still haven't even finished with the tail end of this yet. Because I also planned... Is that going on this side too? It is, okay. Right here. There. Yeah. To kind of close up that end. And at that point, yeah, it's probably just these little front sections here. But everything is meant to be operational. I know there's some ports down here as well. These are technically meant for my tow truck. Actually, let me go ahead and start placing these little suckers. I told myself I was going to, because this is also going to be a cargo area. There's these little pads that I want to be here. So at least that way, if we bring in anything that's loose, we can just kind of mag plate it down. Wait a minute. Fuck. Well, okay, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just means that. Actually, no, even that, because, yeah. I was about to say, that's not a problem. That's right. Nope, nope, my bad. Wrong one. This one. And that should give me, yeah, 5. Here to the bridge. And just grab that window and bring it down. Make sure those are pointed that way. Not go for the lights there. But yeah, no, because I also know there's several times where you'll find like random cargo containers that are dropped by, let's say, if you help out a distress signal or something like that, they're there and they'll help. Of course, that may not entirely work out, but you know, who knows. Sorry. Blank spaced. But yeah, we're gonna have to design a little control center here. Because this will be the primary deck. There will be no stationary guns on this. Everything will be on a gimbal. If anything, I should probably go ahead and get a head start on some of the weapon locations. Actually, hold on, let me go ahead and get large, small grid, converter. Oops, that's moving. Let's see here. I can remove this. Aha, I can. Do that. And that. That. And then we'll do artillery. Well, actually, if that's the case, put this back. We'll do... this and this. And then we'll do, yeah, I'll do another small gridded turret there. Go ahead and get some weapons. Go ahead and get... Go. Change you little suckers to green. Artillery. So cannon. We'll do another assault cannon and then one more artillery. Then we can go ahead and pull up beam blocks just to get some texture going. We'll actually be looking for, yeah, those. Right there. I don't know why I put that there. Here we go. Go ahead and stretch this across. Stretch them across. Stretch them across. And then something oddly enough I've learned to kind of like to do. So I'll get the little corner from the half and just put them there. Because I mean, it also technically does give another little section that's angled to technically create ricochet rounds. I know it with that size, you're definitely not really going to get that approach, but it's the attempt that matters. I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here, not that one because I didn't do it. Put that there. That there. And that there. There we go. So that way that gives us the top side front guns. We'll have guns here on the bottom side. I don't really plan to have anything on the wings. Because honestly, if you're on my left side, well, I take that back. Let me go ahead and do what I did with my pirate ship. And let me go ahead and I'll create spots for little gimbaled Gatling turrets. What the heck was I doing? Okay, cool. I did that right. And another good way to do that is to also make sure you try not to create as many flat spaces. And that's the big bonus to, of course, make sure to do everything in creative ahead of time if you can. So that way you can mirror, that way everything's easy to build, that way whenever you get a printing system going on in your regular worlds, it's just a print and pop in. Regard to this, I like to make sure that we have as the least amount of flat spaces as possible, create texture that pops to the eye more. Giving some indents or some outside textures, because you have to have a flat spot for most of your turrets, as we can see, because they're big hitboxes. But with this one, as you can see, I can basically, hold on, if I did that one, yeah. I'd still have space. It's only that tiny little corner. And that's just by using subgrids. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to use subgrids. Not my priority. Honestly, these fronts here just might be turned into cargo. That way the weapon ain't gonna pull too far. I've got fuel tanks there in the center. I can have O2H2 basically set up the very beginning front sections before you get to refineries and assemblers. I guess in regard to the section down here, let me go ahead and I guess start doing this little layout before I get past myself. A little more down there. So we'll go one more. Right there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. over again. 5 over again. And 5. That'd actually probably be the end of it. So what I'm gonna do. Honestly, that part don't matter. That might be probably the best thing to do, is to do junctions. And we'll just kind of keep it like that. Yep. Come back a little bit more. We'll have that go back into a junction, so that way that's sealed tight. That'll actually give us tools. Do they all have ports on their sides, don't the welder do? Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. Is I'm gonna give all these hinges on their left and right. Go ahead and get and the whole point of this little rear section will be just to make sure that other vessels that come in are still taken care of. And ultimately, and I just might see if I can attach a hinge at the end of these, just so they're not hangling and dangling. Really don't want that to be the case, but I also want to make sure I leave plenty of space to make sure that you can come in, get stuff tap welded if you've got like your little blueprint or your little projector. And then of course we'll make sure to set their lower limits. Making sure none of these are touching. Cool. Nope. I'm also trying to make sure I keep an eye on all of them, make sure they're all facing the right way. So I tend to make that mistake. There we go. Weird to say that I've got freaking Glory Hammer stuck in my head. It's the Battle of Dunkeld. Don't know why. I have no idea why, but it's in there. Ah, fuck. I might have to leave that be. Okay, well then, no. Okay, that's fine. Hold on, let me get my hinges. So all the upper limit, bring that down. Yeah, like that. Might have to bring it down lower. Go ahead. Yeah, there we go. So this way, what I can do. I'm not sure if I want to do. Try it. See how that goes. That should keep everything stable enough that I shouldn't have to be worried about anything moving. I'm also hoping that that just doesn't touch on the walls. So we pull the hinges again. From 90. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was okay. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And then I can get my solar panels, and I can actually make this look a little more appealing. There we go. Because I also wanted to get some solar panels on this, just so we have some form of passive power. I know that's not saying a lot, especially since this is on the lower sections of my ship. I'm just saying in general, in case I happen to catch the angle. I could honestly care less. So at least this way, like I said, it gives me that little place where I can come in here and just tap weld on all my stuff. And honestly, with I was about to say, let's do that. Yeah, gives us lights down here. All that's together. And come in here, that gives us these, in case I can put some boxes. Wait, did I also mess up over here too? No. Looks like I actually kind of nailed that. Cool. But at least this way. Okay, so we've got. So we'll do this one. We'll do them both. See, now it comes. See, this is where it always comes down to. Always. Which one do I want to do? Because I love the way that I designed the railguns with the neon tubes. Because it's 4 railgun turrets and then a small Gatling turret. And of course this one's got. But I also like this one. Because I like the autocannon turret. But I also like the assault cannon, like, turret itself. I know its reload time is going to be probably just as bad as the regular ones. Like the ones that are already preset on the gimbal. But, I don't know. I like their multis. I liked building them. They were a little fun. I've got a couple more up here. Visually, I like the railgun more. I think that one spent probably the most time on. But yeah. So then this gives us a place we can come in here and tap weld. This will be the garage. And of course you can come in here. That one, just so that one's a little easier on the air tightness. Then we can come in here. And this is the garage. And each of these little sections, like I want to make sure I give it this like a staircase going up, because I want that to be the decompression chamber, as well as the way you get up and down between the levels. And I want to do the same thing here, because as you can see, there's nothing here, but at least I've got access to this little section. Like I am out there, and I'm excited for this, because this just means I can just come up here and just bzz, bzz, whatever it is, and I'm good to go. Because I am happy with these. She is slow, but she is coming together. And ultimately, there is a, I've got a screenshot somewhere. I'll probably post it on my Instagram somewhere. Of the first one that I built, and this is kind of like a nuance to that one. Just this one is a nuance to that one, but of course with major fucking changes. But that's the whole point. I'm making the fleet. You know, I've got my main ships. I've got the Orca. I've got Connor. I've got Smoke'em. I've got Wayne. We'll have the Dreadnought up and running at some point, and this one will be run by that dude Keg. I've got my pirate ship. I would like to show that off, because that little sucker was fun. There he is. I know, look at him. Oh. He is just sexy. As you can see, I got these turrets finally set up a bit. I need to add the freaking LCD so that way I actually have a target. But I'm happy, because this will give me some good DPS for any grid. That makes sure the rockets gives me impact. The assault cannons and artillery guns make sure I get DPS and penetration. And I made sure that I've had 2 down here just so I've got something protecting my ass. And I've got, of course, my landing gear. And it's a pirate ship, and this one's meant to go around and fuck shit up. He's got simple stuff. Got the jump drive Mark II going on. I got plenty of thrust. Minus rear, but to that we get later. But that's what I just wanted to show off to everybody. A good little 30-minute stream. I hope everybody has a good evening and a good night. And everybody take care of themselves. I hope you have a wonderful evening.